Right then, this is a walk around video, and this is for a really quite exceptional car. This is a Honda Accord 2.4 EX automatic, finished in this beautiful metallic blue with a lovely ivory cream leather interior, and the mileage is just 24,000 miles. All of its servicing, up until the service we've just done, has been done by the same Bristol Honda dealership from new. And I think from memory that's a total of 10 services that they've conducted on the car. Dealership, ironically, is this dealership where I used to work, and you can still see the Bristol Honda plates on the front here. Front of the car exceptionally clean, lights and lenses completely clear and intact. I can't see a mark on the bonnet, the bumper at all. Likewise, bonnet of the car exceptionally clean. I'm sure there must be the odd tiny little stone chip somewhere, but I can't see anything in all honesty. Near side of the car, just like a mirror. Again, beautiful condition. Near side front wing, unmarked. Near side front alloy, again, lovely condition, just sort of rubber on the outside of the wheel, sort of road rubber. And then the panel work here is just wonderfully clean. Near side rear alloy, again, absolutely unmarked, completely original. And the panels there, come back this way, just look just fantastic. Come around the back of the car, again, no marks on the rear bumper at all. So the sun's just come out, which has kind of spoiled my fun because videos aren't as good in the glaring sunshine, so I do apologise. And boot lid there, again, absolutely pristine. Coming down the offside of the vehicle, again, lovely and smooth on the panel work. This is the only side that's got a mark or any note on it, so I will show it to you. I'll point to the videos to show these things. I'll come to it in a second. It's minor, but it is on the vehicle. But offside rear alloy, absolutely perfect. So come around here. I don't know where you can see. It's where it looks like it's caught something. So just there, it's a little touch in, just on there, and that basically is all I can see on the exterior of the car, because it is just in lovely condition. And then final alloy, again, absolutely superb. I mean, it's a rare car in its own right, but to be in this condition is quite amazing. Coming into the boot area, again, just been kept wonderfully well. If anything, as hard as it is to believe, the interior is even better than the exterior. The back of this car just doesn't look as though it's had hardly any use at all. So coming to the back of the car now, I've come to the shade because it's just so glary, so I do apologise. The carpeted areas, again, just look absolutely as though it's come straight out the factory. And likewise, the leatherwork on the rear seats is sumptuous and it's in just beautiful condition. Front passenger door card, as with all of them, it's in beautiful condition again. All the little recesses have been kept wonderfully well. Again, carpeted area in the front here, just doesn't look as though they had feet pressed onto it at all. And front passenger seat there again, likewise. I can't imagine too many people have sat in that seat. So finally come to the driver's door card. Again, as with all of us, lovely. And again, footwell area is absolutely perfect. The driver's seat there, to say the car's is 12 years old, and it's remarkable, even with such a low mileage, to see such little wear inside the car. Right, so sat inside the car now. Engine's running for this section of the video, so the dashboard can actually be seen illuminated. The dashboard, again, I know it's a repeated theme, but it literally looks brand new. It is absolutely incredible in here. So you can see the sat-nav working fully, or functioning perfectly. Come across the main dashboard binnacle there. And hopefully you can see 24,922 miles, and apart from a low fuel light, there are no warning lights on the dashboard at all. But the video is not going to do justice to this car in any way, shape or form. So finally, just to come under this absolutely beautifully presented engine bay by Honda. What an engine this is, one of their very finest engines, and we're talking about the best engine builder in the world in my humble opinion. Certainly for mass production cars, it is a stunning engine. It's been just amazingly kept. Right then, this is a road test video, and this is for a Honda Accord 2.4 EX automatic. Car's registered DK07KMM. Mileage at the start of the road test is an unbelievable, but completely true, 24,907 miles. The reason we do the videos is basically so anyone that's actually looking at this car online in an advert actually gets to see that very car in operation. We know how annoying it can be to go and see cars which look fine in the photographs and in a description, only to get there and drive it to find it's got an issue whilst you drive it, which you clearly would have found at any time and should have been told about. So hence that's why we do it. It's also done on these lovely quiet country roads very close to our premises, so hopefully you'll be representative of what you'd feel yourself if offered a test drive in the car. I'll do the mechanical stuff relatively quickly on this car because I want to talk more about the car, because this is, as I've said on previous videos on these 2.4s, it's probably my favourite Honda of all time, you know, this side of kind of the more exotic ones, but the engine is absolutely perfect. Starts instantly, no warning lights on the dashboard at all. We've just serviced it. Temperature gauge running at a third, which is exactly where it should be on a Honda car, whether it be petrol, diesel or otherwise, but absolutely spot on, and I'll talk more about the engine in a second. Same with the gearbox. Gear shifts are absolutely beautifully smooth. You'd expect it to be with such a low mileage, and it's exactly how a very low mileage Accord should feel. Gear changes are, you know, absolutely spot on. There's no sort of thunks or clunks in delay in getting into gears either, which is a sign of a kind of a worn gearbox, but as I said, you wouldn't expect it on these pretty much any mileage in all honesty, but there you go. Steering of the car, track's absolutely dead straight. There's no steering wobble at this speed or any speed up to the legal limit, and it just feels tight and taut. There's no sort of slackiness at all. Just again, the whole car has a kind of an as new feel to it whilst driving it, and the same goes with the chassis. What I'm looking for is any kind of mechanical clunks coming up from underneath the vehicle that shouldn't be there. Usually fairly innocent stuff like little drop links and stuff like that, but there's nothing at all. It just feels again really tight. Brakes on the car, we've got a lovely powerful brake pedal on the vehicle. Pulls up nice and straight, doesn't pull left or right, and there's no kind of pulsing or vibrations coming back through the brake pedal of the vehicle. Everything else inside the car, air conditioning is absolutely ice cold, heated seats work perfectly, sat nav, as you can see there, operating absolutely perfectly as well. Likewise, the hands-free function is working as well. I checked it with my phone and that's working exactly as it should. Every button that I've pressed in the vehicle works exactly as the manufacturer intended to. And then cruise control there, again, likewise. As I said, I normally spend a lot longer on the car than that, but in essence it just drives absolutely perfectly. It is wonderful. So if you don't want to listen to any more of this rubbish, then you can turn off at this point, because the next part of it's all about me saying what a lovely car this is. Because I truly believe this is a generational Honda, and it's a car in particular where kind of the stars aligned, everything came together on the car. Normally cars have sort of good bits and bad bits, whereas I can't think of anything to criticise in this vehicle personally, you know, that merits a mention. The engine that, you know, I was talking about earlier, I mean, it's just one of the great four-cylinder engines. For a start, it doesn't feel like a four-cylinder or even sound like one, because it's so smooth in operation, and it's got a massive amount of urge low down, which you don't always expect from VTEC engines. But this has got so much guts, especially compared to the 2-litre engine, which is a wonderful engine in its own right. You can just feel it from sort of 2,500 RPM. This one just is already getting on song, and then you hit the VTEC, and then of course it just absolutely hammers its way round to the red line, but stays wonderfully smooth in the process. I mean, it really is an engineering masterpiece. You know, I've always loved these engines. Put my foot down there, and it sings its heart out. It really does. The advantages of it being obviously I do not want to run you over, Mr. Pheasant, or Mrs. Pheasant. The advantages of obviously a 4-cylinder engine is it's lighter over the front end of the car. There's less maintenance because you've got 2 fewer cylinders, less to go wrong, and in terms of reliability and longevity, it's hard to think of an engine tougher mechanically over hundreds of thousands of miles. These are incredibly strong engines. It's wonderful, and the gearbox matches it perfectly. The gear ratios are spread out to sort of maximise the power of the engine, but also to get the best economy out of the car. Because I've had this, and I've had the 2 litre, and I said I've got nothing against the 2 litre, but I find this is so much more relaxing to drive because it's up and down the gears less often than the 2 litre is because of the lack of torque and power by comparison. But also fuel economy, I actually get better economy out of the 2.4s than the 2 litres for exactly that reason. If you drive gently with a 2 litre, it's better on fuel. If you drive it normally, I find the 2.4s are, but that's just because I'd say the engine isn't working as hard. And then you come to the other parts of the car, the chassis of the vehicle and the steering. The steering, I think, is absolutely astonishingly good. It's the perfect speed and weighting, and what I mean by that is sometimes cars can have a kind of overlight power steering where they can feel very nervous, nice and easy to manoeuvre. This feels like the car's weighs about 3 tons. It feels heavy on the road. Steering's got this lovely fluid action which modern electronic power steering systems just don't have, so you can actually feel what's going on under the front wheels. It's a beautiful setup and matched the chassis absolutely perfectly, because the chassis gives this really comfortable, beautifully damped ride at all speeds. You know, you go into corners and there's no wallowing and pitching. Very accurate. You can pick your line and it stays faithful to it. And the handling balance, I mean, I've been lucky enough to do a track day with one of these for Honda many years ago, and they pitted it against its, seen competitors at the time. Things like the top end stuff would have been the kind of the Audis, Mercedes and BMWs, and then they had some more mainstream stuff, kind of Volvo, Ford, Vauxhall. And I have to say, on the day, all the others on the track were pretty much useless, just felt floaty and horrible and one-dimensional. The exceptions to that were obviously the BMW, rear-wheel drive, really nice balance to it. But its actual balance to the corner was no better than this, and the accuracy of the steering of this I found better on the track. Only the Mondeo I actually thought had a level of adjustability that even the Accord couldn't match, but it didn't ride quite as nicely, but it was a close run thing. But suspension components on the Mondeos tend to be sort of more fickle than on the Accords, and the rest of it's rubbish by comparison. But if you want a car that's going to give you, refinement, reliability, fun, but just be a genuine pleasure to drive, I mean, these are a really rare beast, because they are brilliant, and as I said, in every single respect. When it comes to the interior of the car, obviously you can't get away from the fact that we're looking at a car that is was designed in the early 1000s. But that's actually not a bad thing, because it works brilliantly. All the switches have that beautifully damped precision that Honda built into them. So you press something and it feels, really kind of clicking action, but sort of oily as well. And you just know it's going to feel the same in hundreds of thousands of miles as well. And it's just so blissfully easy to use by comparison to such the complications of sort of modern systems as well. And driving it now, I might as well be driving it, as I said, straight off the production line. There isn't the slightest hint of a squeak or a rattle or a buzz from the interior. The plastics, the seats, I mean, it is in just amazing original condition in here. There is no silicone spray in it at all. It's exactly as the manufacturers would expect it to see. But it's a real time warp getting to this car. Whoever genuinely is lucky enough to take this one on next as the next owner will, in my opinion, be buying a truly special car. And with this mileage, it's actually getting towards being kind of modern classic status, certainly within the next 10 years or so. But it is, as I said, a wonderful beast. Any questions about the car, as always, please don't hesitate. Do give us a call, and we'll obviously happily answer any questions you might have about it.